So hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? So we
Very
have
well.
people joining. Thank you so much, everyone who's joining. Let me start the screen record now.
Yes.
So for my phone, everyone, hi Veronica. Yes, you made it. I'm going to start screen recording and bear with me. This is the first time I'm doing this.
You're not audible, Paula. You're
Now
not
are you
audible.
now?
Yes, you're audible now. One more person has sent me request to join. Who is this? Some random person has sent
Okay.
me request to join.
But let's start. So this is let me
Yes,
just start
let's
by
start.
introducing who we are and why we're here.
Yes.
Because we are here and doing a workshop. Actually, I am Paula and this is Palak, and we're doing a workshop on courage. Now the original
Right.
plan that it was that we were going to do it in Zoom, but people didn't join. That was very honest answer. They didn't join, so we hopped on Instagram Live, and thank you so much. We have 10 people here already. So we're going to kind of improvise through this without slides, but that's fine. And without
We're
anything.
gonna go prompto.
Yes, we're just gonna do it as we go, right? So this is gonna take about, let's say, we'll see, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. And I'm gonna pull up my slides in front of me so I know what I'm talking about. So the workshop's name is Courage. Now, everyone here already has a lot of experience on courage and a lot of experience of moments of not so much courage, where the fear takes in. So thank you so much, everyone who's joining here. So let's just I need a breath. Like I need to take a breath. So let's take a breath all together. Just one big breath to get here on this space right here. So let's breathe in and okay, I'm here now. I'm so happy that you're here now. And let's start. So actually what we're going to talk about and was why courage? Why is this such a topic for right now? Let me close those blinds a little bit here. The other way around, sorry. Because it was shining in my eye. So yes, why courage? Because it's something that we deal with every single day for our entire life. We have fear and we have courage. Those are kind of the two sides of a coin. So one side we have fear, the other side courage. Some fear is good to have, right? So fear that, if you're crossing a street and
Natural.
yeah, it's going to keep you alive, right? You're not just going to blindfoldly cross the street because, yeah, that's a good fear to have. But not all fear is so beneficial to us. So sometimes it stops that, right, Palak? Do you
Yes,
agree?
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that was like I looked up the definitions for fear and for courage in Google, and fear is something unpleasant emotion that caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm. So it's a perceived something, perceived danger, pain, or harm. And courage is doing something that frightens you. So yes, the other side. So I think we all have like my one of my lives, I'm 45 now, and one of the biggest things that I did that was very scary was going to study. Hi Carm, thank you for being here. I'm from Finland originally, so I went to study in the United States without ever having been there. My perception of being in the United States was through television, so obviously I had no idea. But I took that step and I flew over, and I went to study there among people I did not know, in a place I had no idea, and it was very different from where I was from. So I'm very proud of myself for doing that. This has brought me to where I am right now, as long as, as well as everything else. And so I'm proud of this moment. You are allowed to be proud of your moments of courage. So I just encourage you to Also think in your mind, what are the things that you did correct, that are courageous, the big things that made you really like move forward in your life, that you might have realized right then, oh yes, this is a big deal, or you realized later, oh wow, that thing that I tried, that I did, that I listened to myself, has brought me forward in my life and has made me so much stronger. And so, yes, and you're going to talk about that strong word later. So just wait
Yes.
for that one. And so these are stories, like any stories of fear are just stories. Stories of courage are stories. So we can choose the story that we have in our lives. We choose whether we go with the story of courage and just go a little bit further, or we can choose to go, remain with the fear, which sometimes, yes, is beneficial if it keeps you alive. And sometimes our brain goes in like an overdrive and it's going to keep us, in a fearful state. So actually, I have 2 tips for courage that I want to share with you that are going to help you sometimes enormously when you remember the tips. So the number 1 is the question. Ask yourself, what would I do if I woke up tomorrow morning and I was not afraid to try? What would you do if you woke up tomorrow morning and you were not afraid to try? What would you do? That one question is very powerful. And just think about it. Like for me, myself, what would I do? Well, I would try. I would do all the things, do the phone calls, the conversations, the acts of courage that I'm holding myself back on because I'm afraid. I have this on a little post-it notes on my door. When I go out, that's the last thing I see. What would I do if I was not afraid to try? And that keeps me going, just going out with that thought, because we face that every day, in small, big things. Still, we face it every day. So I encourage you to think about it. Maybe you wrote it down, or maybe this is being recorded, so you can always come back to this recording as well. I'm going to post it everywhere that I can post it. So exactly. The second tip that I wanted to give is adopt the identity of the person you'd like to become. So you have an idea, you have this picture of, this is me courageous. This is me doing something that requires a lot of courage. You step into that character. First, take on, maybe you have to act a little bit. It's like in this presentation, honestly, before this, I started the Zoom, which then turned out to be an IG Live. I literally told myself, I am this courageous Paula. She can deliver, she can serve, and she can show from her heart that this matters, and it does. And just to get there, because no, I'm not always courageous. I'm like everyone else. So yes, I have to get myself to this state of presentation, of sharing things that I have in my head that I've written down. It's not always easy. This is not something I do every day. So yes, I also had to take on this character. And I think it's Natasha Graziano, who is a known person for like personal development and mindset training. And she said, be the person you want to become. And that's exactly what it is. Be the person now, today, in this second, that you want to become. Until you become that person. That's the person you want to become, and you be like them right now. So take the characteristics. Think of what would that person do? What would my future me do? And do it now. Very powerful statement. And I encourage you to try. This is also, and I have a bonus. A third one. I said 2, but I'm doing 3. So here we go. If you're still hesitating, like whether to try something or not. Think of what is the worst, absolute worst thing that could ever, ever, ever happen. Is it a no? Like if you're in an audition or you're interviewing for something, the worst that could happen is a no. So often the worst that could happen in any situation is not really that bad. And if you take it as something to learn from and grow from, and maybe that no is a no now, but it's a yes later, or it's a no for a really good reason because the next day you get something that's even better and bigger and whatever. You don't know. So there's always a reason behind it. So think of what's the worst thing that could happen, and mostly that will just give you some peace of mind and say, oh, okay, well, it's not that bad. So let me just try. And there's always, ways to always go and think about, well, what is the worst thing that could happen? So I encourage you right now, and I was going to do like what's called the quick write, and I encourage you to do it on your own, is to spend exactly 2 minutes. That's what a quick write is that it's something that you write and you have a certain time limit, like I said, 2 minutes, and you write your courage story. So from one experience of courage. And do this on your own. We're not going to do it right here because I think for the Instagram live, it's just easier to keep on talking. But please share any thoughts and stuff. I see everyone's who's here, and thank you so much for being here. Like, share your thoughts, write a comment. I think I can see comments if they come and pop in. So yeah, that would be something to consider because, and Palak, I need your input here. I was going to do a visualization.
Yes, so I'll be the volunteer.
So anyone, I mean, this is a powerful one. It's going to take a few minutes. So just tell me if it's appropriate or not here on Instagram Live to do a visualization. That requires, for you to close your eyes, and I will just guide you through. Or would this be something that I could give as an additional thing?
You can read out the script, or you can do a thing that I can volunteer for that. That's
okay. And anyone else, like, yes, I'm doing this for you, but I'm also doing it for anyone out there. Now I can't see who's there. Like I can see some names, but I don't see your faces. So I just giving my energy through here, through the screen. And yes, encouraging thoughts. Thank you. Okay, Carm, I'm doing it. Do it. I do it. So yes, I'm going to guide you through a visualization, and I will just invite you to just relax. Like wherever you are right now, unless you're like driving a car or something, you close your eyes just gently. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, drop your shoulders, your arms, everything, all the muscles let loose. Take another deep breath in. And relax your eyes, everything around your eyes, and let that relaxation go all the way through, down through the toes. So you're as relaxed as possible. And now imagine that you're standing inside a room that has been painted all in one single color. There is nothing else in this room, just the color, which covers the walls, the ceiling, and the floor. Which color do you recognize? And what else can you observe? The shape of the room? Is there a particular scent that you can smell in the room? On one of the walls, there is a door. You are curious, yet you feel afraid to go and open the door. Your mind is fearful. Your heart is pounding, and your breathing is shallow. As you stand now in the middle of this room of color, where in your body do you feel this fear? Just go through your body in your mind and locate as specifically as possible where in your body do you feel that fear. And if possible, place your hand on top of the region of your body where the fear is located. And if you could give a color to this fear, which color would it be? Just think of the color, think of the place for yourself. Now breathe into this fear. Your next 3 breaths are directed right into the fear you're feeling. And you will allow this emotion to come so that you can feel it in its fullness. This is a safe space, so nothing can happen to you here. Just breathe. And then take one more deep breath in, deeper than before. And as you exhale, you can drop your arms. Drop them now. You have given your fear some attention now. And now it's time for you to make a decision. You observe the door, which is on the wall right in front of you. And you choose to move towards the door. With each step you take, your fear that you just felt in its full capacity seems to get smaller and diminish in size. Now, by the time you reach the door and reach out for the door handle, curiosity fills your mind. What is behind this door? Will there be other people out there? Am I going to step into another room? Or does this door take me outside? You have the choice not to open the door, but your heart, your mind, and your entire being wants to know what's on the other side. It feels like an adventure. It's only a distant and ever-fading memory. You push the door open. The door opens, and you find yourself in an absolutely beautiful, the most gorgeous beach filled with rocks in different sizes and shapes all around you. It is breathtakingly beautiful here, and you can't help but smile. Was this what you were afraid of? As you take a few steps forward, you can see that each rock has some writing on it. What is written on the rocks? You bend down to see the text on the closest one. And as you come close enough, you can see that written on this rock is your memory of a moment you felt absolutely courageous. And you did something that took so much courage. Amazed at this message on the rock and the feeling of gratitude that is rising inside of you. After all, it is your experience of courage that is forever immortalized on that rock. You stand up and start looking at the other rocks on that beach. Every single one of these rocks describes a particular moment in your life that you did something courageous. Every single rock. And there are so many rocks. Now, some of them are still empty. And you realize that these stories are yet to be written. There are so many more stories of courage yet to come. You take a deep breath in and you feel so very proud of yourself. These are all your stories. Soon, it's time to leave this beach of courage for now. You slowly turn around and return to the door that leads into the room you just came out of. Yet, instead of the same single color room where you felt your fear, you find this room has changed. As you step into the room, you can see the color is no longer the same. Which color, or perhaps multiple colors, can you see now? What else has changed in the room? And how do you feel now entering this room again? Now you take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, you start slowly moving your feet, your fingers, turning your head side to side, coming into the now and the here. And you can softly blink your eyes open. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Whoever was doing that, let me know how that was in the comments. That would be wonderful to hear. And yes, you can always go back to this, like, because this is being recorded. Thank you. I saw a heart there. So this is the power of visualization. Tell me about it, Palak. How did you feel?
I really felt light. I think after doing this guided imagery sort of technique, it really helps you to calm yourself down, and then you just want to be there in the moment. You don't want to come back, but you have to come back. But it just feels so light and so good, and you're just comfortable being alone. You just enjoy the solitude.
Thank you. You know, this is a space you can always go to. Like now that you've created this beach of courage, thank you. I just saw someone say, wow, wonderful. So you can always go back and see more rocks and see how your stories are being written on those rocks, and just, come back. And anytime you feel like you're in that colored room of fear, allow that fear to come. Allowing the fear to come, like any emotion, is so much more powerful and better for you to move on than holding on or trying to hide it somewhere or trying not to pay attention to it because it's there. It's like something that Palak told me the other day, like, well, I don't remember. Yes, thank you. You feel empowered. That's great. Me too, just from doing this. Yes. But yes, like if you mention like a pink elephant, well, don't think about it.
Yes.
Well, you are going to think about it. So the same thing with the fear. So it's no use saying don't think about it, because then you're going to think about it twice as much, right? So
you're gonna.
Do you have any thoughts that you'd like to share?
The audience or me?
You or the audience?
So it was wonderful. I think the moment we try such exercises, I think it's really beneficial in times where we are required to take a decision, despite of so many confusions and despite so many multiple fears, multiple apprehensions. I think it's a wonderful technique.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So actually what I did was also courageous. Look, I wrote this today. I recorded it so that I can do it too. So I did it like this, even though hearing your own voice is always a little bit difficult, I have to say, but still, I'm getting better at that. So I do try, and I do these, I want to do it myself first always. So I felt the same. And in my experience, my color in the room changed completely when I went back to it. And so that was also very powerful. So then I was just like, I just want to share like something that we touched upon just now, is that the recognizing where you are, like even with fear and courage or anything else. If you want to take a step forward, try something, do something courageous, or move forward, shift something, recognizing where you are, just recognizing objectively is the place to start. Like anytime you want to change anything, you need to know where you start from, right? And then the next thing is to envision, like think, well, this is the becoming the person you want, like be the person you want to become. You know what you want to become. You know what kind of a mindset you want to have. Well, then that's the next step. You envision that. You know where you want to go. Then the third one is the shifting step. So then you start to take action on changing mindset, habits, beliefs, just doing things like the visualization exercise we just did, where you find your courage and you know, look, it's just stories. It's always something that will pass. Like the if you feel an emotion of fear, well, it will pass. It's not going to stay with you forever. Like any emotion, it won't stay forever. So shifting, and that all comes to a transformation. And the transformation is something that happens along the whole way. So I call these, I came up with an acronym REST, R-E-S-T, or the REST steps. So recognize, envision, shift, and transformation. So this is something that is very beneficial for not just courage and fear, but anything that you want to shift or change in. So now I'm going to hand it over to you, Palak.
Thank you so much, Paula. It was lovely hearing you out. And most importantly, you covered everything so beautifully. And you touched upon all the aspects of courage. And it had a lot to do with very, sort of a naturalness and candidness of your conversation. So I think that element is very important. The moment you're not trying to somewhere impart something, you're just sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wonderful. And I would like to start by sharing this with all the audience of how we started this concept of courage. Initially, I was quite reluctant to do a workshop on courage, but it was for you to say that a lot of us know what it is. We're aware what is courage. We know what it is. It's something that we've been reading throughout our lives from moral books, moral lectures, and those moral values classes. We know. We come across positive psychology, all these concepts related to positive psychology talks about wisdom and courage. We know. But you said the line that you said after that really motivated me to do the workshop on this topic, which goes like, even though people already know that what courage is, they still feel the lack of it.
Mm-hmm. That's so true.
Yeah. So I think that line is going to stay with me forever. And I, most importantly, had a lot of learning to do in my own personal life when you said that, what if you are not afraid to try?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, so I'll start with that. That it was really more than I'm being a speaker right now and all, but it was also great learning for me. So thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you for saying that.
Thank you. So I'll quote firstly Mr. Nelson Mandela. He said that courage is not the absence of fear, rather a triumph over it. So we're often confused with the fact that courageous people do not fear, but we don't know the fact that fear is a natural emotion, as you mentioned previously. Human brains are hardwired to feel emotion, to fear certain situations. We've stayed in caves from, I think, the era of before Christ or something. We've stayed in caves. We're hardwired to feel fearful. We seek safety, and we fear dangerous situations. Now, fear is something which is very, very strong and very, very intense. And if you're trying to create a goal that I should get rid of fear, it is a dead man goal. Now, what's a dead man goal? A dead man goal is something which is based on unrealistic content. I should always be happy. I should always be confident, and I should never fear any kind of situation. That's a dead man goal, because only a dead man person cannot feel. A dead man cannot feel any emotion. You cannot let one single emotion dominate all your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because human life is filled with colors, filled with multiple emotions, filled with times of challenges, adversity, struggle, all of these things. And these are the shades of human experience. And that's what connects us with other people. And if we lose that, we're somewhere creating a sense that we're living a very unrealistic life. So fear is something very, very natural part of human life. However, this what courageous people do is that despite fearing, they take a decision. And I'm sure a lot of us have been in those situations where despite fearing, we had to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
That is courage. Actually, if you see, that's what Sir Nelson Mandela has spoken about. That it's not absence of fear, rather a triumph over it.
Exactly.
So courage is something which is a bridge. It's a model from psychology perspective that if I talk about, but delivering it in the most layman terms, courage operator pyramid. It's like a triangle. If you just imagine a triangle, here it is fear, here it is hope. Just imagine some ocean, and then there's lighthouse on that. Fear will always pull you back. Do not. This will happen. What if this happens? What if this happens? But hope is that beam of light from the lighthouse that will say, despite that, continue. Despite all your apprehensions, despite all your strong emotions of feeling that what's gonna happen, what's not gonna happen, what's gonna happen, how the outcome will be. Despite that, you just take that one decision. And not all decisions are favorable. You know, we as humans, we have hindsight bias. When the other person takes some kind of decision, and if that decision is not favorable or if it's not helpful, let's not even call it right or wrong. It's always favorable outcome or the unfavorable outcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can't be right and wrong. Right and wrong are two abstract terms, right? It differs for everybody. So let's just understand it as favorable or unfavorable. So if something favorable happens, other people are like, oh, I just knew it, you would do it. But the time unfavorable outcome happens, we always say to our children, to other people, I knew you would land up in trouble. I knew you would do that. And often as parents, because they're certainly very protective, so they just want to protect the child. But sometimes they convey things like, I knew you would land up in trouble and all. And that's when that child starts fearing all the situation where he's required to take a decision. We don't say that, okay, it's fine. Even if you've made a wrong decision, even if you've made a decision where it is an unfavorable outcome, it's totally okay, because this is life. You can't be perfect all the time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And if you're perfect, then there's the problem. Are you living it fully?
Yeah, or then you're not taking like you're not realizing fully where you are and where your potential is. Because we're never
Right?
perfect. We always have more potential. And that takes
Yes.
courage also to see. Even if you seemingly have everything, but then there's still something, right?
Yes, there is definitely. So courage is that bridge between hope and fear. You're gonna fear. Fear is very intense, and fear is very, very strong. It's that ocean that's gonna dominate your mind. But that one beam of light that pulls you to take that courageous step.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I wouldn't want to believe that none of us have been courageous at some or the other point. If we just try and recall, all of us have been courageous, even if it is this much.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'll talk about something which is often associated with courage, the word. It's called strong. When I was growing up, I was often told, in school specifically, uh, she's so courageous, she's so strong, she doesn't tell her emotions. She's always so in control of her emotions, and always the perfect, and everything is based on rationality and all. So we were always hardwired to believe that somebody who's courageous is somebody who's strong, and we have a prototype for strong. A prototype for strong is somebody who's completely, not feeling all the emotions, in control of all his emotions, constantly calm and peace. He or she is not having certain reactions and all. Now, the point is that this prototype becomes a barrier for people to actually feel all the human emotions,
Mm-hmm.
because we've celebrated the wrong concept of being strong, and we've associated courage with that. Somebody who's courageous is strong, and the person who's strong is he's showing absence of all emotion. So I've read a case history with regard to that. I would like to discuss. This very young girl in the region of South Africa. Of course, she was struggling with a lot of cultural barriers and all, and it, from the very beginning there was a heavy emphasis: be strong, be very strong. When she was nearly 7 or 8 years, her father died. When her father died, she wanted to cry, but she couldn't, because her memory became very active that I have to be strong. And when she didn't cry, everybody appreciated the fact that she's so strong, she's holding herself up, she's in control of all her emotions, she's ready to face life. But every night, because those emotions are not coming out now, emotions are energy, they need some form. So she would eat and purge, she would eat and purge, and this had become a repetitive pattern until she was in her teenage phase. When she was in her teen, she was diagnosed with bulimia nervosa. And when she was diagnosed with bulimia nervosa, which is a common eating disorder, happens a lot due to suppression of emotions, because you don't have the ample of opportunity to express your emotions openly. So her professor, what he did was he just said that I give you a space and time. I'm here no matter how much time you want. Write everything and feel whatever you want. It took her 24 hours to write. She wrote a multiple, I think there were innumerable pages. And right after that, she cried for the whole night. And her professor was there. And gradually she started recovering.
That's a great story, and it can be related to by so many people. And also that I do believe at some stages right now, the the word strong is kind of somehow shifting also. Like people are becoming more aware of what is strong. Strong is someone who actually shows emotions in a healthy way, recognizes
Right.
them, acknowledges them, and is able to let go. That is a
Exactly.
sign of being strong, I believe. And it is so hard to
Absolutely.
do, right? Like we're all on
It
that
is very
path.
hard to do. It is very hard to do. It is a world where we celebrating the idea of strong has been a prototype. And when you're not, you're a misfit into the world. So now people are becoming more and more aware. They're realizing to celebrate individual differences,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And they are understanding that how important it is to feel all kinds of emotions.
Yeah, because
In
we have
last,
such a big range.
exactly, exactly. Life cannot be dominated by one single emotion,
No.
right? So after talking about this courage operator pyramid, then I spoke about the dead man goal, then I spoke about courage versus strong. I would like to talk about courageous question. Now this is a concept given by a very famous psychologist and theorist. And initially, in the earlier decade, it was believed that courage is a trait. Some people have it and others don't. There's some set of people in the class who are going to be courageous. When we were kids, if we go back to our school time, there were certain kids who were like, ma'am, I have this opinion about things and all, and there were other kids who would just hold back to express themselves. So those kids were labeled as courageous, strong, and high-headed. Or somebody would call them, you're so brilliant at expressing things. Other people just hold back and all. So it's your personality. You're a person like that. But this theorist has coined the term courage question, where he talks about it is a skill. It is an ability. At any point in time in your life, you can develop it.
Mm-hmm. That's so true.
And
Yes. Because actually, that's one thing that I wanted to say. Because I probably even forgot to introduce myself in the beginning, but I'm Paula. Yeah, my Instagram handle doesn't say my name, but my name is Paula, and I'm a confidence coach. Started with confidence for dancers, and look, that this is also the reason why I wanted to do a courage workshop, because courage goes so well together with confidence. So once you take one little tiny step of courage, your confidence grows. And then as your confidence grows, well, the next time that little step is, doesn't require any courage anymore, then it's a little bigger step. And then you can take
yeah,
that step. And so your confidence, but it's an ongoing cycle. And if you at some point get discouraged or you stop for some reason you take step, you stop, then your confidence goes kind of back down. And along with that, the ability or the pull to do courageous things also goes down. So it's also always a training, right? You're always training, like you're training your body. I mean, I work with dancers, so as dancers, you train your body. Well, you train your mind too. If you don't train your body or muscles for a little while, they're gonna you lose so much power, and it's exactly the same with your mind. You don't keep training, and the same with courage. If you stop at some point, and it's often from the outside influence, or something happens, and then you don't feel so courageous, so your confidence drops and everything, and then it's starting all over again. And as we know with muscles, if you stop training and you start again, that's hard. You can still do it, but it's a training. Like you were just also saying, like with confidence, it's not you're born with confidence. You train confidence and you train courage.
yeah. So absolutely, you mentioned it very rightly. And now I'm going to do an activity with you. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to volunteer?
Yeah, sure. I'm here. And anyone in the audience, like, we can't hear you or see you in a live version, but I can see some names here, and I'm really glad and thankful and grateful that you are here. And if you are here right now, listen in as well. Like, you can participate fully wherever
Yes,
you are. So, yes,
yes.
I'm your guinea pig.
Okay. Should we start?
Yes.
Okay. Paula, I tell you, tomorrow you have to, and you just have to wake up at 5 a.m. Tell me, how courageous do you feel on a scale of 0 to
0 or maybe 1.
10? Now I tell you, Paula, you have the choice and decision and the power to make a make a set an alarm for yourself and wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. You have the decision and choice, and you choose to wake up at 5 a.m. How courageous do you feel?
10.
On a scale of 10.
It's my choice. 11.
Absolutely. So, this is what I was talking about. That you're even nobody is born with courage, or nobody's ever ready. But it's a choice. At any point in time in your life, you can make that decision. You can make a choice. We have had multiple stories in the history, if we go by, where there are people who are getting dominated for years and years, and for years after years, they took that one courageous step to stand by and said that enough is enough. I'm not going to take it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the ability, you have the choice. That's what this activity talks about. When somebody is forcing you, you cannot do it. But when you feel that you have a choice, you have the decision, you have the power, that's when you're ready to do it. And that's when you're ready to overcome all your fears, or despite all your fears, you just do it.
Exactly. Yeah. But you can just,
And
you can always choose to also, like in the visualization, yes, you can feel all the emotions, you can locate your fear, you can give it a color, a shape, or anything you want, and then you still choose to step forward and let go of that fear, and then just keep moving forward. Like, despite the
yeah,
fear, yes, feel it. And I encourage you also to just, feel the fear. Feel it fully, completely. Cry, scream, whatever it takes. Feel it, and then it's easier to let go because you've given it that space, that time, but you're not attached to it. So you can detach from that, let it go, and then move forward, knowing that the fear is never gonna go away. It's never. You will always have fear, of course. And some, yeah, like we said always earlier in this discussion, some of it is actually, kind of good to have,
natural.
right? It keeps you alive on a daily basis. But then the other fears, or fear of judgment, or fear of not knowing something, or even fear of recognition. Like, a lot of people do fear, well, what if things work out too well? Like, what if I
Yeah,
become famous, and then you have all these other issues. But it can go either way. Or what if some people judge me? What if they don't like me? Or what if I don't succeed how I expect myself to succeed? Those fears are not so helpful to have, yes, but still you can recognize it, give it color, shape, your space, feel everything, and then just be like, I'm dropping it. I'm not paying attention to it, and I still go forward. And that's how you get your courageous actions up there, and you get more encouraged. And the next time you can always go back. You always remember things, so you can always go back. Oh yeah, that time, you know, maybe it didn't work out exactly the way you thought it was going to work out. Like, say you have an audition, like since I work with dancers at auditions, or they have an important class or someone, maybe it didn't work out, like they didn't get exactly what they wanted in the first place, but something better came out of it. Something unexpected, something that you couldn't even imagine yourself happened because you did that courageous action, because you went to the audition, or in anyone's case, if you went to an interview, because you applied for that job and went to the interview and did that, something else might come that you could not imagine. So
yes.
yeah, that's like my pep talk for courage. Yeah. Hi, Anna. Anna is here. I sometimes see some names here that I
Yeah,
recognize. So I'm so glad and so grateful, each one, whether I know
yes.
you or not, that you're
Uh,
here.
you're, yes.
So, what else would
Yes.
you like to share?
I would like to talk about cross-cultural differences of courage. Now, there's some cultures, for example, cultures which are individualistic in nature. They celebrate autonomy, they celebrate independence, they celebrate people coming up with their own opinions. they believe it as a strength. Like individualism is a strength, but there are cultures which are collectivistic in nature, where group group is more emphasized over having solitary activities, where group cohesiveness, where we have to be very tight concept has been emphasized. And when you step out of that, when you step out of that group, that's when it requires a lot of courage, because
Mm-hmm.
standing alone and facing people on the other side, it can have drastic consequences, but still people do it.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes them do is because they somewhere believe that despite they believe that what they really value, they believe that what purpose and meaning that they're trying to discover doesn't have anything to do with culture. Then again, coming to gender. Now, fortunately, we are in the era where the concept of gender disparity has been evolving, and men and women are becoming on the equal foot. But apart from men and women, we have other binary genders also.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge is that when you don't fall into this binary gender of men and women, and you belong to the other category, there is still a long way to go for that acknowledgement. When we fill a form, you always see male or female.
Mm-hmm.
So people from LGBT community are struggling for their basic identity hallmark also, and that's where that courage requires for them to be able to overcome the cultural barriers, for them to be able to talk about their own identity, to talk about how they're different from other people, and to celebrate individual differences and not just binary gender or binary division of gender.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
LGBT community. Then there is earlier when I was reading A Thousand Splendid Suns, and I was just reading of how women had struggled with with I think multiple instances of numerous forms of abuse,
Mm-hmm.
but they took that one courageous step, and that changed their life. And throughout the book, they've been taking courageous steps and all, and the the pain, the agony that they live in, it's hard for us to imagine. Where they're struggling for the basic rights also, where they have to let go of their child, where where they have to marry somebody that they don't love, where they have to where they lost their loved ones,
Mm-hmm.
and from there they decide to live a life of their own choice and not give up. it's
Yeah.
it's a story of courage and sacrifice. So cross cultural differences, individual differences, LGBT community rights, then gender disparity. All these are facets of our society that somehow all of us need to acknowledge. And fortunately, it is becoming a platform. The world, as people are understanding things more and more via globalization and all, we are learning to celebrate individual differences. So, and people are getting that equal foot,
Yes, exactly. I
and
totally
more and
agree.
more people, yes, more and more people are talking about their courageous experience. I think to be able to share your story on social media requires a lot of courage. So I think what earlier was believed as somebody who's strong, emotionally unavailable and all, actual courage lies in celebration of vulnerabilities, because nobody perfectionism, as I mentioned, is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're celebrating a perfect, this is the prototype, you're so you have everything good, you have everything happy, you're having the perfect life and all, in terms of everything, you're celebrating an illusion, because there will be something or the other, there will be some sort of a struggle that the person would be dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to make it a world where we celebrate vulnerabilities and not just perfectionism.
Exactly. That is a message I feel should be even more distributed out there. So the vulnerabilities, those things that often are called taboos, whether it's an illness or yes, your gender or what you like and love and do and what your heart tells. Yes, Carm, that is good.
Thank you.
Exactly. That should be celebrated so that, and the more people get encouraged to share, the more people then again get encouraged to share, and people find others who are like, well, they're like me. Because it's always this fear. Like for my own personal life, I had many years of depression. And yes, of course, on paper, I know, almost everyone in this world at some point is, faces depression. But in my depression, I thought I was alone, the only person in the whole entire world of over 7 billion people. Obviously not the case, but that's what it feels like. And then when I see someone else, and it's like, oh, they're like talking just like me inside of my head. Wow, that gives me a space to open up and to open another door and just poke a hole that will help me discover this world that's not depressed, which I did. So also, yeah, sharing these stories, and maybe just there's someone out there, and also trusting that, yes, if someone hears this, well, they will share it with someone. So yeah, there's always hope, and then trusting your heart. And that is courage, right? Trusting you and going with your heart is courage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I get excited about this. I get goosebumps and stuff because this is what I love to do. Like as a coach, I encourage people to poke those holes and go towards transformation that might end up, or in the best case ends up, that people around them are like, they see like a new flower opening up, that they might have seen just this, it's a bud, or what is it called when the flowers hasn't opened yet, and that's what they've seen. And then through this work of transformation, of mindset shifting, of perspectives and your habits and beliefs, that people around you who've known you for a while, they're like, wow, this person has actually bloomed and come into this new shape. And that's like, that it gives me goosebumps just to say that. But yeah, this is the reason why I also wanted to do this workshop with you. And I hope this is speaking to at least some of the people in the audience. It's like, we do this from our heart too. So this is an encouragement, hopefully, to a lot of people to take those courageous steps. Go back and listen to the visualization if you couldn't, or you weren't here at that time. Do the writing exercises and share. I mean, not everyone has to share on social media. That's kind of a big step because, social media, it's global. But you have people around you, friends and family, and when you feel comfortable sharing something that seems vulnerable or is vulnerable to you, I encourage you to do it. Take that step. What if you woke up tomorrow morning and you were not afraid to share your vulnerability?
And you have a choice for that.
Exactly. So yes, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Paula, and the dear audience who've been there with us throughout the session. They've been consistent. They've been commenting. They've been giving us hearts. So
yes. Thank you, everyone who's been here. Soon. Now I need to figure out, before we go, this is now like, anytime any one of you in the audience or has any questions, please contact us here through Instagram or any other way. There's I'm Paula Naeff, and Tim, this is me, is the name of, well, the program that I built for dancers to get, build courage and confidence. So that's why Tim, T-I-M, this is me. And thank you, Veronica, so much for being here. And I5 Center, I don't know your name, but you are beautiful. You have been commenting. I really, really, really appreciate. Yes.
Thank you so much to both the audience that they've been commenting, and really F5 Center and Veronica, really nice, really such encouragements motivate us also to have another session. So thank
Exactly.
you.
Now I hope I can like just once I finish, just
Yes.
save this. Now I'm gonna edit this part probably away from the recording that I will share, but I want to make sure that it's not going away because I have a screen recording
Sure.
going on. Do you
So
know how
I'll
that
just,
works? Does anyone in the
put
audience
the,
know how that works? Like, do I have to save it somewhere before I stop?
just just press the
I
button
have
stop for the screen recording and start.
low battery. Thank you so
Okay?
much. Oh, it's
Thank you.
Ashish. If I5 Center is Ashish. Yes. Okay,
You're not audible, Paula.
it will automatically just save it on my phone.
Sure.
And then I will share this later on today or tomorrow. So for everyone to watch.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much,
you,
Paula.
Palak, for this. We will do another
Really
one.
means a lot. We'll do another one very soon, very soon. It's gonna come up very soon.
Yes.
And thank you, audience.
Thank you,
Everyone.
everyone in the audience, and see you very soon. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.